Hi. I know a lot of people across Montana are wondering about the process for selecting candidates to replace Congressman Zinke. Each party, the Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, and Independents, have a process for selecting which candidate will go on a statewide ballot in a special election. I can explain how the Democrats are going to do this. The date and the time and the place are still up in the air and will be announced. You'll see it in the news, but potentially Saturday, February 18th or Saturday, March 4th could potentially be dates for a public convention that anyone can go to. There will be two separate sections, one section for the voting delegates and then a section for the public to observe. The voting delegates are the folks who have been working in their central committees in each county for the past several years. They have been elected in each county to the position of chair, vice chair, state committee man, or state committee woman. There are about 35 counties in Montana that have these central committees with these folks elected to them. In addition to that, there are also about 40 people who either sit on the executive board of the state Democratic Party or are a voting delegate for what we call a partner organization. So an example would be the Hunters and Anglers Roundtable has a vote, and the College Democrats have a vote. So about 40 extra people besides the central committees. So we'll have this big meeting. It'll be called to order. Anyone who is present and eligible to run for Congress, which means they're 25 years old and have lived in the state for at least 9 years, anyone who fits those qualifications can be nominated. A person who's nominating stands up and goes to a microphone and says, "I nominate Amanda Curtis," and then can give a 5-minute speech. That nomination has to be seconded. So a person would stand up and go to the microphone and say, "I second that nomination," and then they can give up to a 3-minute speech. So that keeps going until there are no more nominations, and then the nominations are closed, and there are 30 minutes of discussion. No person who's a voting delegate can speak for longer than 1 minute. Folks just line up at the microphone, state their name, where they're from, and if they're associated with an organization, and speak for up to 1 minute about which candidate they would like to see get the nomination and why. After those 30 minutes are over, each of the candidates can give a speech of not longer than 15 minutes, and the order is determined by just drawing names out of a hat. Are you still with me? Then, after all of the candidates have given up to 15-minute speeches, the ballots are cast. They're not a secret ballot. Each person who's entitled to a vote has to write their name on their ballot and who they're voting for. All of those ballots are collected and counted. Each candidate is welcome to have an observer watch the counting of the ballots. You cannot win this candidacy unless you have a majority, meaning 50% plus 1 vote. So if no one on the first ballot has a majority, then the lowest vote getter drops off of the ballot, and the ballots are recast again with each person writing their name and who they're voting for, and that process is repeated until one of the candidates has earned a majority, 50% plus 1 of the votes. At the end of the convention, whoever has been selected as the party's candidate will sit down and write a check for their filing fee and file with the Secretary of State as the official candidate for U.S. Congress of the Democrat Party. So, any candidate for any party or independent will be on a statewide election that'll be about 3 months from Congressman Zinke's resignation. So if you are already registered to vote, then you are registered to vote in the special election. If you're not registered to vote, you can go to bit.ly/Montana Voter Reg, MTVOTERREG, and that will download a voter registration form for you and show you where to mail it. If you're not sure whether you're registered or if you're registered at the correct address, you can go to bit.ly/CanIVote, CANIVOTE, and go through just a quick process to check and see if you're registered to vote. So You will have a vote if you're registered. Now you know the process, and there are about 150, 160 people who will be voting for the Democratic Party candidate, and I am asking each one of those people to cast their ballot for me on the first time and the second time and the third time we cast ballots. I hope that clears it up. Here we go.